Alright, hopefully everybody can hear me that's streaming. Join, please jump in chat and say hello. Yeah, you guys can talk, it's okay. It's no big deal. Nobody's watching right now. I'm just giving it a test. Alright. I'm going to try and make a sign here that I'm going to cut on my laser. The goal is to make it wide enough and use a good font that's going to work for our CodeMatch makerspace. That's what I'm working on right now. Hopefully everybody can see me okay. Oh, am I muted? The goal is to make it, oh, there we go. I think that's on by default. All right. So I found this font that I like. I think I want to make it a little bit bigger. Let's see. Probably make it about 20 inches wide, which would be about maybe around 500 millimeters, give or take. So I'm using Adobe Illustrator here, which is a pretty nice tool. Got an older version because I'm not using the Creative Cloud. I use this all the time. You're basically creating a vector file when you're working on lasers, or files that can be cut on lasers. The other thing that I just added, so the text doesn't normally come with this top part, but what you want to do is, in order to cut something out, you need the letters to be connected. So that's why that's like that. I'm not sure if I like that design yet. So I'm going to save that as one design concept. It's here it is. Space. All right. So I'm going to do a new one, similar dimensions. Space 2. Delete that. Insert. I'm using the text tool. I'm going to use the same font again. I'm going to do all uppercase. And probably increase it. I don't like to increase the text because sometimes it doesn't scale very well. And it causes the computer to slow down. But what you can do, what I typically do is I'll create outlines, so now it's no longer text, technically. And then I can scale it up from there. Hey, hang on a second, hon.
That was me. Huh? That was me.
Hang on, Jen, hang on. I'm streaming on the internet right now.
Dawson says it was her.
All right, guys. Sorry about the muting there. My wife was asking a few questions. So thanks for joining. I see Michael and Viking are in here. So good to see you guys. I would do. I was trying to learn how to do StreamYard earlier. I do have it set up, but I can't figure out how to set up everything else. So I'm not really sure how to do that yet with OBS, which is the software that I'm using. So still working on that. But yeah. So anyway. All right. So I'm working on this. Basically the sign here. I don't know when you guys joined, but one of the things that I'm trying to do is make a sign for upcoming Makerspace at a conference that I'll be at in January. So nothing too exciting, but just trying to make some cool concepts. One of the things that you have to do with text in order for it to cut out properly is you've got to connect it somehow. Otherwise you get some weird artifacts. Things don't look quite right. So that's what I'm trying to do now. Might try and actually, I think I'm going to go with a rounded rectangle. Let's see, try that. So what I tend to do is I'll create an overlap like that. Something like that. And then I will join it to the bottom also and try to line them up. All right. That's looking pretty good. Now, in order for the laser to understand what you're doing, you've got to join it. You've got to unite it with the Pathfinder. So there we go. And the other thing I need to do is I need to change the way the path is and just do outlines. Okay. So now that's how it will potentially cut. So you can imagine this is all going to be wood, and then the letters will be wood, and then everything else will be cut out inside of it. So that might be kind of cool. One of the things that I'm going to do in this design is put some LEDs behind it, and then a board behind that. So then it'll kind of have a little bit of a glow effect is the goal. Let's see. All right. Go ahead and save this. So I think now I have two different concepts. So here's the first one, which is a little, actually they're both pretty similar. Yeah, I don't know. The one other challenge that I have to figure out is how I'm going to put a stand. So I need this thing to stand up somehow. I'm thinking about putting just a little tiny stand on the bottom where it would just drop into it. It's probably going to be the easiest way to handle that. Yeah, some pixels, exactly. Or plexi, yeah. Yeah, I've done that before with it, like acrylic or something. That's a good idea, Michael. So that would kind of give it a cool back, maybe a little bit different backlighting effect. Yeah, that's actually not a bad idea. Give me 1 second real quick here. Alright. Alright, something else I want to do is show, kind of show my, I don't know if you guys can see this or not. I want to show my space. So here's a view of my maker corner. So when I was trying to come up with a name for my channel, I wasn't all that creative because everything's kind of in a corner in my basement. But you can see a couple printers there. And then I've also got, spread this out a little bit. Give me a second. So I've actually got this showing through a security camera, but it gives me the ability to pretty much check it out anywhere. And then you can kind of see on the printers as well. If you look really closely, there's also little webcams on there that I use for Octoprint monitoring. But the cool thing about the camera is that I can change the position pretty easily. So I'm going to flip over to the laser. So if you can, hopefully you guys can see that. But the laser is it's a Glowforge laser, which is that kind of that white and maybe gray top there. So that's what I'm going to be cutting the wood on. Yeah, I think the blackboard, maybe like a black background, plexiglass in between, and then I'd have to put the LEDs on there. I want to show something else that I just made, so I'll show you the concept real quick. Just give me 1 second. All right, so this is kind of the original idea. I cranked this out today. I need to find an outlet for it. All right. So hopefully you guys can see this okay. Put the stream full. Go back here. 1 second. Alright. So this is our logo for CodeMash. And then if you look on the side, you can see some LEDs on it. So it's probably about, I think it's about 30 millimeters, maybe 20. But the idea is you kind of have like a little bit of an orange glow to it. So, and what I want to do is I want to have kind of the logo here sitting up on a stand, and then I want to have that makerspace written across here, kind of also on a stand. And then I'm thinking I would use maybe like a green or a white for the makerspace stand. But that's kind of the concept of it. If anybody wants to check out CodeMash, it's a developer conference in the Midwest. So that's the website. But I've been spending a lot of time getting ready for that conference. One of my jobs is to help come up with our makerspace area. And we've got about, 7 or 8 different project ideas. It's something new we're doing this year. So normally we're talking about just software development and things of that nature. But this year we're going to be doing, we've always had a 3D printing lab, at least for the last 3 or 4 years. But this year I wanted to do something a little more interesting around hardware as well. So hardware as well as software and kind of combining the two. So I'm working on quite a few different projects, and people will be able to, oh, actually I have another project that we did. Let me grab it real quick. So this one's pretty cool. It's actually a IoT badge, and whoops, make sure you wish to everything now. I accidentally hit a button there. So the way this works is you turn on a little switch here, and then it loads up the screen. It's got a little ESP32 chip on it, and it's also got a small little screen. So it's kind of cool. It's got LEDs on it. This is the badge that we're making this year. So a lot of conferences, a lot of the security conferences especially, do a lot of the hacking badges, and people will get a badge like this as part of the conference fee, and then they'll try to hack it and do things with it. We actually decided we wanted to kind of do something similar and try it out this year. So guy that I work with actually is going to the conference, and he designed pretty much this entire circuit board here using Gerber, and then we went in and just put the components on. I've been helping him with the design a little bit and testing it. So it's actually there's a lot of different things you can get to run on it. Still kind of a work in progress though. All right, so back to the makerspace. Yeah, Hack Day. There's a lot of those on Hackaday. There's a recent conference, and Hackaday sponsored it. I think they call it the SuperCon or Super Conference. And yeah, a lot of people there will, they'll get the badge and they'll try to add things onto it. It's pretty amazing what you can do. Some of those different designs out there. Let's see. So let me bring up the original Gearhead. So I know I'm often doing a lot of 3D printing, but one of the other hobbies that I enjoy is lasering. So I wanted to talk about that on my first stream, since I haven't actually done any videos yet on lasering, which I do plan to do in the future. But here's another SVG. So I just showed this, and this is exactly what got engraved and came out. So this actually took right around 2 hours, maybe a little less. And the way that what happens is the laser will read in this vector file, and then it reads it in, and all the dark areas, it's gonna laser that out. So this is an engrave. I don't know if you can see that, but it's probably maybe I don't know, probably not even 0.2 millimeters, maybe somewhere around there. But it'll cut into the wood. This is actually maple on the top. It's maple plywood, and then under there, I'll show you the other piece. So underneath it is this design was a little trickier, but basically it's a couple different pieces. Let me see. Hopefully that's showing up on the stream okay. Move it over a little bit so the left can show. There we go. So these little red areas are areas that were etched or scored, technically. And so this right here fit a small little proto board that I had. And then I put the proto board in this block, and I just taped it down with some carpet tape. And I did the same thing. Here's where all the LEDs were. So I put these on here so I would know exactly where to put the LEDs. And then what I did after that is I soldered kind of a bus on both sides, and then I wired all the positive to the side and the negative to the side. And then all of these LEDs, they already had a resistor that was included in it, so a current limiting resistor, and then I just soldered each of the anode legs to the positive, and then each of the cathode legs to the negative. So these were all wired in parallel, and then I ran a 12-volt source to this. So it's only probably drawing less than an amp, probably less than half an amp even. So these are all about 20 milliamp current. So you've got, how many do I have? It's like, looks like about 8. So yeah, it's probably even less than a quarter of a milliamp, or a quarter of an amp. So it's a pretty low draw, but it's also not all that bright. And I was hoping for a little bit more of an orange effect. But that's okay. So that was fun. And then, so then the other piece that you'll notice, so this is all scored, and then this piece here is kind of the outside. So this was glued to the back of the maple, just this piece here, and then these are little kind of little holes or slots, I guess. And then what I did for the slots, let me show you another piece. Here we go. So I made these 30 millimeter little pieces of wood. And it's kind of tricky when you're, so lasering is all being done in 2D. So as you can see, it's just top-down view. But you do have to consider the thickness of the wood. The other thing that you have to consider is what's called the kerf, which is where the laser cuts away. So when I go to put these pieces in, they're about 3.3 millimeters, which happens to be, I usually add about a 0.2 kerf. So my wood that I was putting in the slot is right about maybe 3.4. So it's going to cut away a little bit. So basically these pieces were designed to kind of not real tightly fit, but fit just right where I can put a little bit of glue to hold them in there. So I only actually needed 4, but I ended up cutting 6 of them, just so I had extras if I needed them. And then what happens is these are all put in here vertically, so you can kind of see. Hopefully you can see that. So I went ahead and hot glued these in, and hot glue actually works really well with wood. It tends to bond to it pretty well. The nice thing is I can still take it out. I can get a little razor blade or something and pick away at it. So yeah, it's kind of a fun project. So that project probably took me a total of 2-3 hours to make today. All right. I'm going to close these out. So I think my next step is just to figure out how I want to do this, make sure I've got the right size. Okay. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead and take a break and probably stop the stream now just because I don't know if anyone's actually watching. I know it says there's one concurrent viewer. But thanks everyone who did watch, and I'm going to try and think of some other ideas for streaming and probably try and get StreamYard working as well. So just wanted to give this a shot. Thanks for watching.